I have given you a gift." The image of a benevolent God appeared in the minds of the 4 innocent, mischievous children. Every night, since their mother's death, they had prayed for love and protection. The words echoed in the darkness, not in a boom of thunder, but in a whisper that seemed to emanate from the very fabric of their hearts. The 4 children, huddled together in a shared dream, saw no face, only a brilliant, benevolent light, and the gentle figure of God. With a kind and gentle demeanor, he said, "You prayed for love, but you closed your hands against it. A needle is also precious if we need it. It is not the form of the gift that matters, but its purpose. Open your hearts and receive it." The light faded, leaving them alone in the quiet darkness, with the simple yet profound promise, "Be happy with my gift." They awoke to the familiar chaos of their lives, a symphony of thrown toys, scattered clothes, and shattered hopes. For 8 years, the 4 of them, the quadruplets of billionaire Mr. Harrison, had lived in a sprawling mansion that felt more like a fortress of solitude. Their mother's death during childbirth had left a void that their busy, workaholic father could not fill, no matter how many staff he hired. Nannies, tutors, maids, they all came, and they all left. The children, feeling abandoned by the world, had made it their mission to prove to every adult that they were unlovable, a human experiment in chaos. It was their way of controlling the narrative, of ensuring they were the ones who pushed people away, not the other way around. Their latest target was a woman named Rosa. She was a contradiction from the moment she appeared. The agency had warned Mr. Harrison she was a special case. She was a beautiful black woman in her late 20s, with a quiet strength in her dark eyes and a gentle smile. But what truly intrigued the children, and what they immediately saw as her fatal flaw, was the polished chrome of the wheelchair she glided in. "Easy pickings," one of the boys, Leo, had whispered to his sister Mia. "She can't even run away." They stood on the grand staircase waiting, a pack of wild animals observing a wounded prey. Their latest victim, a stern German governess, had lasted all of 3 hours. This one, they predicted, would be gone in 2. Rosa looked up at them, her smile never wavering. "Hello, children," she said, her voice like warm honey. "My name is Rosa." Leo, the ringleader, sneered. "Welcome to the asylum. I give you 2 hours before you run screaming for the hills, just like all the others." Rosa tilted her head, her gaze soft but unwavering. She met each of their eyes, Leo's cynical glare, Mia's defiant scowl, and the twin boys, Ethan and Noah, who hid behind them, ready to pounce. "I haven't come here to chase you, children. I've come to stay." The words hit them like a physical blow. It was a declaration, not a plea. The game was on. The first volley was a fusillade of stuffed animals and small toys raining down from the second-floor balcony. Rosa simply raised her hands to protect her head, waiting for the storm to pass. When it did, she calmly started picking up the debris. "A very spirited welcome," she said, sorting a teddy bear from a plastic car. "I like your spirit. Let's see what else you have." They were shocked. Usually the adults would yell, threaten, or run to the phone to call their father. Rosa just tidied up. The next day, they escalated. They poured a bucket of cold water on her from the top of the stairs. It drenched her, but she only laughed. A good shower, very refreshing, though I prefer my showers to be a little warmer. Finally, their ultimate weapon, They locked her in the large, soundproof laundry room and pushed a heavy sofa against the door. They waited, their ears pressed against the wood, for the sound of her panic, her cries for help, her inevitable pleas to be let out. Instead, they heard a soft hum, a beautiful, melodic song. She was singing. They were flabbergasted. After a few minutes, Leo pounded on the door. "Aren't you going to beg? Aren't you going to cry? Don't you want to get out?" The humming stopped. "Oh, I'll get out eventually. But I'm not begging. You can try that trick all you want. It won't make me leave. Try something harder." The words hung in the air, a gauntlet thrown. No adult had ever challenged them like this before. The children exchanged confused glances. The game was no longer fun. It was different. Over the next few days, the chaotic energy in the house began to shift. The pranks became less frequent, then stopped entirely. They still watched Rosa, wary and suspicious. They saw her in the kitchen, carefully measuring ingredients and humming to herself. They saw her in the garden, a small trowel in her hand, planting wildflowers. They watched her navigate the mansion with quiet grace, her wheelchair a part of her, not a limitation. She was a part of the house now, not just a guest passing through. One evening, after the last of the dinner dishes had been put away, Rosa sat in the living room, her wheelchair positioned by the fireplace. Leo, Mia, Ethan, and Noah stood in the doorway, pretending to be busy, but listening intently. "Would you like to hear a story?" Rosa asked, her voice soft. Silence. Then Noah, the most timid of the four, mumbled, "What about?" "My story," she said simply. "I used to be a dancer, a ballerina. I lived and breathed it. The stage was my home." She closed her eyes for a moment, a far-off look on her face. But then an accident, a fall. The doctor said I would never dance again. The children stiffened, expecting the pity, the self-pity, the sad story of a broken dream. Instead, she opened her eyes and smiled. "For a long time, I was lost. People would look at me and see only the wheelchair. They thought I was useless, broken. But I told them, as long as I can breathe, I can have purpose. Maybe I couldn't leap across a stage, but I could teach others. I could find joy in the smallest things. The world is full of gifts if you just have the eyes to see them." Mia, who had always been the most cynical, felt a lump form in her throat. She saw not a victim, but a survivor. Rosa looked at each of them, her eyes full of a kindness they had never known. "The world may have told you that you are difficult or a handful. It might have told you that you are hard to love. But I want you to know from the bottom of my heart, I will not abandon you. You are worthy of love, and you are worthy of being here." The words resonated deep within the hollows of their hearts. They were no longer a game, but a promise. The children were no longer a problem to be solved, but a gift to be cherished. They remembered their dream of God and suddenly realized they had been missing out on the most wonderful love without even knowing it. Slowly, timidly, the children began to reach out. They started eating meals at the dining table with her, a simple act that felt like a seismic shift. They listened to her stories with rapt attention. They even helped her in the garden. One afternoon, they sat on the floor of the living room, a large piece of paper spread out before them. They worked in silence, with colored pencils and crayons. When they were finished, they held it up for Rosa. It was a family portrait. In the middle was a woman in a wheelchair, surrounded by 4 children, all of them smiling. Behind her, a golden sun shone, its rays illuminating everything around them. The children weren't trying to chase anyone away anymore. They were trying to pull someone closer. They were building a home. When Mr. Harrison returned from a 2-week business trip, he found the mansion quiet, too quiet. He walked through the silent halls, a sense of foreboding in his chest, certain that the new housekeeper had quit and the children were hiding, ready to ambush him with a fresh complaint. He found them in the living room, sitting on the floor with Rosa. She was reading aloud from a book, her voice soft and soothing. The 4 children were nestled around her, calm and still. For the first time in years, the house felt like a home, not a sterile, soulless box. He watched from the doorway unseen. He realized then that he wasn't needed in this moment. This was something sacred, something they had built on their own. He had spent his life building empires, but she, in a single day, had built a family. That night, as the children were getting ready for bed, they found him waiting in the hall. "The house is very quiet," he said, the words feeling foreign and awkward on his tongue. "We like it quiet now," Noah said softly. "Rosa is a good person," Mia added, her eyes serious. Leo stepped forward, his voice a surprising mix of determination and vulnerability. "We talked, Dad. We've decided we don't want to play our game anymore. We don't want to make people leave." He looked at his father, his eyes pleading. "We want Rosa to stay, forever." The words hung in the air, a question, a plea, a hope. For the first time since their mother's death, the Harrison mansion was not just a house. It was a home, and in the quiet halls that had once echoed with chaos, a new sound had emerged, the sound of belonging, of connection, and the gentle rhythm of a family that had finally found its way back to itself.